Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Dario here with another Options and Play video update. This video, a little bit less specifically options related, kind of just like a broader idea, right? That being that there's opportunity in a lot of different areas besides just tech, right? I feel like a lot of times we got blinders on and we focus only on the names that maybe have the most momentum higher, that maybe the most talked about stocks out there, right? Like the Fang names, the Beta names, like the Momo, maybe a lot of the software names too, like the Zoom. But there's a lot of opportunity in a whole lot of different areas, right? And sometimes stocks that are just like left for dead, where people really just have lost interest, can really create some great opportunities, right? So like I really like to have a wide focus or like a wide basket of things I look at, because when you have tunnel vision just on like maybe like one specific sector, or even like just a like maybe like 10 to 15 names, you kind of miss opportunities elsewhere, right? And retail was one where it's still technically not out of the woods yet, but there's a lot of real positive signs starting to kind of converge on a bunch of different retailers, right? I mean, there have been great names in that space, like with like the Walmarts and the Costco's and the Targets, even, right? But a lot of brick and mortar names have really had a hard time since February, since the coronavirus pandemic started, right? Under Armour, I mean, one of many. I mean, I could pull up like a bunch of different charts, um, kind of similar in the sense that got hit February and then even worse in March, starting to bottom. And what you'll notice is that it's starting to improve, right? Like kind of a double bottom forming, clearing some moving average resistance, starting to gain momentum, and Under Armour, like a lot of these names, pretty heavily shorted, right? So you have tight, well, relative tight consolidations after real sharp drops. Market that's consistently been strong, right? Stocks that are starting to turn the corner and break through some overhead levels, higher short interest, and option prices pretty reasonable, all things considered. Based off of where they came from, right? Because some of these options are pricing in percentages, percentage moves based off of like the new normal, in the sense that Under Armour is now a $10 stock, right? Whereas if you view it from where it came from, which is 20, and how fast it dropped, well, it's kind of like a different story, right? So instead of viewing it as like a $10 stock, and you viewed it from where it came from, priced in moves on some of these options actually don't seem that bad, right? Especially if you start to get a rebound. So this is definitely a sector that I've been screening for potential setups, right? So it's to me, what I'm looking for are names that have put in like a decent bottom. So whether that's a double bottom on Under Armour, right, and starting to work through resistance. Kohl's was the recent one, right? Put in a higher. It broke through resistance, right? So it had a higher low, broke through resistance, and now it's forming a higher base above that resistance, right? And you can see it's starting to like tick up into kind of like an air pocket, right? So like another name, right? So if you view it from where it came from and not necessarily where it is, then the option pricing doesn't seem so bad, but kind of like another like beaten up, more heavily shorted name, right? Revolve, a little bit different, but still kind of like a similar idea, right? So this one's like online only presence, right? But beaten up retailer, right? Starting to form higher bases, very heavily shorted. About 50% of the float is short on this, and this is starting to work on higher levels, right? So there is a lot of opportunity out there. I mean, Goose, even like on earnings, right? You're looking for like again like another heavily shorted name, another heavily shorted name that's starting to work on higher levels, right? Held a higher level, earnings weren't as bad as feared, and you're starting to see like these moves higher. So whether it's swing trades, like short-term swing trades, long-term swing trades, or even like earnings trades, I'm really starting to see like a lot of potential in like the retail sector. And when you kind of combine it with like a lot of really elevated short interest or short positions, right? It can kind of create some like good moves. So, again, not every stock sets up perfectly. Not every stock is interesting, But I do think that if you haven't really been focused on this sector or in this area, it's probably worth taking a look because there's some good action, some good under the radar action too, which is nice because not necessarily paying up for those options, right? And I think there's a lot of potential here, so keep an eye out on it. All right. So if you're looking, if you like these videos and you're looking for more option trade ideas, more earnings trade ideas, or more information on options education, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options in play. All right. Hope you guys have a great night. Stay safe, stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.